Dive into the chilling world of shark encounters in today's episode as we share 6 of the most dangerous and horrifying shark attacks ever documented. Join us as we explore spine-tingling tales of survival and tragedy that will make you rethink your next swim in the ocean. Join us on Creature Chronicles as we delve into 6 of the most perilous and deadly shark encounters ever documented. Settle in, and let's plunge into the initial terrifying account in the summer of 1931, specifically the evening of August 30th on the serene coast of Barbers Point, Hawaii. A brother and sister embarked on a swim that would take a horrifying turn, forever altering their lives. Lonnie Koha, 25, was a lively young woman renowned in her community for her daring spirit and profound connection to the ocean. She had grown up with the sea as her playground, finding both joy and peace in its boundless expanse. Her younger brother, Ka, 18, was the more prudent of the two, always looking out for his sister. Though he shared Lonnie's affection for the ocean, Ka approached it with a reverence that bordered on apprehension, ever mindful of the hazards lurking beneath its placid surface. That evening, following a particularly long and draining day of labor, Lonnie felt an irresistible pull towards the water. Their customary sunset swim, typically around 6 p.m., had been postponed, and they arrived a few hours later. Despite the late hour, the siblings decided to proceed with their swim, eager to wash away the day's strains in the cool embrace of the ocean. They waded into the water, feeling the familiar chill invigorate them after the hot day. Ka remained near to the shore while Lonnie ventured out nearly 50 feet, where the water deepened and the vibrant marine life below captured her attention. Ka kept watch over his sister from a distance, noting her position in the deeper waters. As he felt himself cooling down and the sky began to dim, he was about to call out to Lonnie, suggesting they return to the beach, and he noticed something. A colossal fin sliced through the water, moving swiftly towards her. In an instant, the tranquility of the evening was shattered. An 18-foot great white shark burst from the water, its immense jaws clamping down on Lonnie. The force of the assault dragged her beneath the surface, the water around her turning crimson as Ka watched in horror, too far away to reach her in time. The last thing he saw was Lonnie's hand briefly breaking the surface before she was pulled into the depths. Ka froze, his mind struggling to comprehend the nightmare unfolding before him. Desperation surged through him, and he began swimming frantically towards where Lonnie had vanished. But he knew it was too late. It was only the roar of an approaching boat that roused him from his shock. Kaipo Maho, an elderly fisherman who had been observing from afar, was racing towards them. Kaipo steered his boat swiftly towards Ka, pulling him aboard as the younger man stammered out what had occurred. Kaipo, understanding the gravity of the situation from Ka's shock and the blood in the water, quickly scanned the area, but Lonnie was nowhere to be seen. The water was darkening fast, making the search increasingly difficult. Realizing time was of the essence, Kaipo immediately radioed for emergency assistance, knowing they had to begin the search for Lonnie. Though he feared the worst hours after the attack, a coordinated search effort was underway. A helicopter swept the area with its spotlight, and additional boats scoured the water. Just after midnight, one of the search teams spotted a large shark near the area where Lonnie was last seen. The shark, an 18-foot great white, was captured and brought aboard a rescue vessel. The shark, weighing 1,750 pounds, was a formidable and terrifying sight. Upon examination, the grim reality was confirmed. Inside the shark's stomach, they found bone fragments and pieces of Lonnie's bathing suit, leaving no doubt about her fate. Ka, devastated and in shock, struggled to remain composed as the enormity of what had happened sank in. The community mourned the loss of Lonnie, with the story making headlines as one of the worst shark attacks in Hawaii's history. On a warm summer day, July 22, 2015, James Miller, a 24-year-old ocean enthusiast and dedicated surfer, arrived at a popular beach near Cape Town, South Africa, with his tight-knit group of friends. Known for his adventurous spirit and profound love for the ocean, James was usually the first to hit the waves. However, on this particular day, he wasn't feeling quite himself. A slight dizziness and an uneasy stomach kept him on the shore as his friends eagerly grabbed their boards and dashed into the water. Determined not to miss out on the day's activities, James sat in the sun, hoping the warmth would chase away his discomfort. After a while, the sound of the crashing waves and the sight of his friends enjoying the surf became too tempting to resist. Feeling a bit better, James decided to join them. His friends welcomed him with smiles and shouts of encouragement as he paddled out to meet them in the lineup. The beach was buzzing with activity. The waves were just right, strong but not too rough, perfect for the experienced surfers who frequented this spot. James felt the familiar thrill as he waited for the next set of waves. The sun was high in the sky, and everything seemed perfect. But beneath the surface, danger was lurking. As James floated on his board, scanning the horizon for the next wave, something unusual caught his eye. A seal darted through the water just a few meters away. James knew seals often attracted unwanted attention from the ocean's apex predators, but he didn't think much of it at the moment. He was more focused on catching a good wave. Suddenly, his heart sank out of the corner of his eye. He saw a large shadow moving swiftly through the water. His blood ran cold as he realized it was a great white shark, and it was heading straight towards the seal and directly into his path. Panic surged through him as he desperately tried to paddle away, but in his haste, his foot slipped off the board and he accidentally kicked the shark. The reaction was immediate. The great white, now provoked, shifted its focus from the seal to James. Before he could even process what was happening, the shark lunged at him. The first bite was on his ankle, a sharp, searing pain that shot through his leg. James gasped, trying to kick free, but the shark wasn't done. It circled back, this time taking a significant bite out of his side. The pain was intense, and the blood loss was severe. James felt the strength draining from his body as he bled into the water. His surfboard had drifted away. Struggle, leaving him without support. The injuries made it difficult for him to stay afloat, and with every movement he grew weaker. Despite his efforts, he felt himself slipping under his limbs, growing heavy as he neared the point of drowning. Meanwhile, James's friends, who were still surfing nearby, noticed his surfboard drifting unattended. Alarmed, they quickly paddled over, but James was nowhere in sight. Realizing something was wrong, they split up, each heading in a different direction, scanning the waves anxiously and calling out his name. One of his friends finally spotted him, barely conscious, struggling to keep his head above the water. He screamed for help, and within moments nearby boats were rushing to the scene. They pulled James from the water, his body limp and covered in deep, jagged lacerations. Blood dripped from his side and leg, the wounds severe and life-threatening. James was quickly brought to shore, where an ambulance was already waiting. The paramedics immediately began administering first aid, working to stabilize him for transport. They rushed him to the nearest hospital, Cape Town Mediclinic. The doctors worked diligently to repair the damage. Despite the severity of the attack, the surgery was successful and James survived. As he recovered, James realized how lucky he was to have friends who noticed his absence and acted quickly, ultimately saving his life. In the year 2009, on the 27th of August, two experienced fishermen, Desmond Kane and Oliver Reed, both in their early 30s, set out for a weekend fishing trip off the coast of Monterey Bay, California. For Desmond, it was a way to step away from the constant demands of his young family, his wife and two kids, allowing him to reconnect with his passion for the sea and the thrill of the catch. Oliver, too, relished these trips, finding solace in the ocean's vastness, a perfect antidote to the pressures of work and home life. These weekends were more than just fishing. They were a return to the simplicity and excitement of their younger days. The day began with high spirits as Desmond and Oliver loaded their gear onto their boat, laughing and bantering as they set off into the vast expanse of Monterey Bay. The morning sun glistened on the water's surface, and the sea was calm, a perfect day for fishing. After a successful morning haul, the two friends decided to move to a different spot, hoping to increase their catch. As they cruised to a new location, Oliver noticed something unusual in the water. A sparkle that resembled the movement of a shark. He tried to get Desmond's attention, pointing toward the water, but Desmond, busy with the net, didn't see anything. He dismissed the concern, thinking it was nothing to worry about, and they both continued their tasks with laughter, brushing off the momentary concern. As Desmond lowered the second net into the water, he suddenly felt it become incredibly heavy. Just as he was about to call out to Oliver, a massive 10-foot mako shark leaped out of the water, biting down on Desmond's hand with tremendous force. The attack was swift and brutal. Blood poured from Desmond's mangled hand. As he stumbled back, trying to process what had just happened, Oliver rushed to his side, searching frantically for the first aid kit, but it was nowhere to be found. They had forgotten it in their haste to set off that morning. Thinking quickly, Oliver tore a piece of fabric from a life jacket and fashioned a makeshift tourniquet, tying it tightly around Desmond's hand in an attempt to stop the bleeding. As they tried to catch their breath, the mako shark launched another attack, this time aiming for Desmond's leg. Oliver managed to pull Desmond away just in time, but the shark rammed the boat, causing it to lurch dangerously. The small vessel rocked violently, and Desmond, already weakened from blood loss, nearly lost his balance. In a state of panic, Oliver scrambled to the boat's controls and started the engine, accelerating away, but they had not yet reached full speed. The mako shark, known for its speed and agility, relentlessly pursued the boat, easily catching up as it hadn't yet reached top speed. With a sudden, fierce attack, the shark rammed into the side of the boat, causing a severe jolt that nearly tipped them over and left a deep dent, creating a small leak. Oliver, realizing the gravity of the situation, pushed the engine to its limits, finally managing to outpace the predator. After a tense and harrowing chase, the shark retreated into the depths, leaving the fishermen exhausted and desperate to reach shore before the leak worsened. Desmond and Oliver managed to return to shore just 20 minutes later, where they were quickly rushed to Marine General Hospital. Desmond's injuries were severe. His hand had suffered deep lacerations, and two of his fingers were partially severed. He underwent emergency surgery to repair the damage, including reattaching his fingers and treating the deep tissue injuries. In the aftermath, Desmond and Oliver were left puzzled by the intensity of the attack. An investigation later revealed that the shark responsible was an 800-pound mako drawn by the scent of blood from their catch. Known for its incredible speed, this particular shark had likely been in a heightened state of aggression. The next story takes us to the stunning shores of Oahu, Hawaii. On a bright July afternoon in 2016, the sun bathed the island in a golden glow, and the crystal-clear waters of the Pacific beckoned to those in search of adventure. Among the visitors was Evelyn Thornton, a 48-year-old mother with a passion for travel and exploration. She was on vacation with her 17-year-old son Caleb, seeking a mix of relaxation and excitement. The day was perfect for snorkeling, and Evelyn couldn't resist the allure of the vibrant coral reefs just offshore. The waters were about 30 feet deep, a mesmerizing blue that seemed to stretch endlessly. Caleb stepped into a kayak he had rented from a nearby shop, intent on keeping an eye on his mother while enjoying the water himself. Always protective, Caleb's attention shifted between the horizon and his mother as she prepared to slip beneath the surface. Evelyn swam into the water, immediately captivated by the beauty of the coral reef. She had a natural curiosity and an innocent wonder that sometimes left her less aware of potential dangers. The coral reefs were alive with color angelfish darting through the crevices as she swam deeper. Evelyn was entranced, fully immersed in the peaceful dance of marine life in the clear, quiet ocean. But as the minutes ticked by, Caleb began to feel an uneasy sensation creeping in from his position in the kayak about 50 feet away from his mother. He noticed something unusual in the water. At first, he thought he might be imagining things, a fleeting shadow that could have easily been a trick of the light or a large fish. But as he squinted and focused, the shadow became more defined, and his pulse quickened with realization it wasn't just his imagination. The unmistakable outline of a massive tiger shark emerged from the depths. This was no ordinary predator. It was a 12-foot behemoth, a creature of immense power, and it was heading straight for his mother. Panic surged through Caleb as he tried to warn Evelyn, but his voice was lost in the vastness of the ocean. He paddled frantically. But Evelyn, with her head submerged and focused on the coral, couldn't hear his desperate cries. A group of kayakers was further out, too far away to notice the threat, focused on their own activities. Then in an instant, the peaceful underwater world erupted into chaos. The tiger shark struck with brutal force, its powerful jaws clamping down on Evelyn with terrifying speed. The shark's rear teeth sank into her shoulders, while its front jaw bit deep into her lower back and upper thigh. The water, once clear and inviting, was now a swirling mass of fear and pain. The impact threw Evelyn off balance, her body jerking violently as the shark pulled her under. The pain was searing. But there was no time to process it, only the instinct to survive. Then, just as suddenly as it had attacked, the shark released her, its massive form retreating into the depths. The ocean, moments ago a place of wonder, was now stained with blood, the water churning in the aftermath of the attack. Caleb's horror was absolute as he witnessed the unthinkable, but there was no time to despair, only to act, fueled by pure instinct and a desperate need to save his mother. He paddled furiously toward her, his heart pounding with fear. His cries for help finally reached the ears of nearby kayakers. And one man, Mr. D. Daniels, was the first to respond, a seasoned local in his late 50s. Mr. Daniels moved with a calm urgency, his years on the water evident in his actions. Mr. Daniels reached Evelyn just moments before Caleb, quickly assessing the situation. The situation was as critical as life and death itself, and they had to act fast. Deep slashes ran from her lower back up to her shoulders, blood pouring from the wounds. With practiced precision, Mr. Daniels pulled Evelyn onto his kayak, while Caleb, his fear momentarily giving way to determination, stayed close, anxiously scanning the water for any sign of the shark's return. The journey back to shore was intense, with Caleb and Mr. Daniels paddling as quickly as they could. As they raced toward the shore, people in the water began to notice something was wrong. Panic spread, with shouts of alarm echoing across the beach as swimmers quickly fled the water. Finally, they reached the shore. Caleb and Mr. Daniels laid Evelyn on the sand, pressing towels against her bleeding wounds. Within minutes, the ambulance arrived, and paramedics swiftly stabilized her and rushed her to Queens Medical Center in Honolulu. The beach, once bustling with activity, was now eerily quiet as lifeguards cleared everyone from the water. At the hospital, Evelyn was taken directly into surgery. The shark's bite had caused severe lacerations requiring over 700 stitches. The surgery was lengthy but successful, and Evelyn was stabilized. When Caleb learned that his mother had survived, relief washed over him. Though he was uninjured, the trauma of witnessing the attack left him shaken. Medical staff quickly provided support, helping him process the ordeal. Grateful she had pulled through, Caleb knew they both faced a long road to recovery. On June 17, 2001, the serene island of Bora Bora, known for its turquoise waters and breathtaking sunsets, became the backdrop for an unimaginable tragedy. What began as a day of love and celebration for Ethan and Olivia Rivers would end in horror, a day that no one present would ever forget. Ethan Rivers, 30, was a man of quiet strength, deeply devoted to his new wife, Olivia, a 27-year-old with an adventurous spirit. Their relationship, nurtured through years of friendship and shared dreams, had captivated everyone around them. Their wedding day was a flawless celebration. The couple exchanged vows in an afternoon ceremony framed by the stunning backdrop of Bora Bora's turquoise waters. The joy of the moment was shared with their closest friends and family. And as the sun began to set, the formalities of the day gave way to an evening of festivities. The air was filled with the gentle sound of waves and the soft glow of tiki torches casting flickering light on the sand. In the afterglow of the ceremony, Olivia, still buzzing with excitement, suggested to her bridesmaids and a few close friends that they take a swim. The idea, perfectly aligned with her adventurous spirit, was met with enthusiastic agreement. Ethan, ever cautious, felt a flicker of concern. He knew that dusk was a time when the ocean's predators were more active, but Olivia's infectious confidence reassured him. With the light still lingering and the shore just a short distance away, he kept a watchful eye as they entered the water, hoping for a memorable end to their perfect day. Laughing and carefree, the group dashed toward the water, splashing as they waded into the warm, shallow sea. About 30 feet from the shore, the water was cool against their skin, a welcome relief after the heat of the day. They splashed playfully, their laughter echoing across the beach, unaware of the danger that lurked just beneath the surface. As Olivia floated on her back, gazing up at the sky with the sun still casting its warm glow, a gentle breeze brushed against her face. The ocean's rhythmic lapping against her skin was almost hypnotic, lulling her into a deeper state of relaxation. But then something brushed against her leg, a fleeting moment of unease that she quickly dismissed in the fun of the moment. Before she could fully react, a powerful force latched onto her right calf, sending a searing pain through her body. In an instant, the serene scene turned to chaos. Olivia felt the first bite, a sudden excruciating pain as a bull shark's massive jaws clamped down on her right calf, tearing through muscle and skin. She barely had time to scream before the shark Struck again, this time sinking its teeth deep into her upper thigh, shredding through muscle and bone. With terrifying ease, the water around her turned dark. As blood poured from the wounds, her friends, horrified, sprang into action. One of them, driven by sheer terror, jabbed at the shark's known weak spot. The tactic worked, and the bull shark released its grip, retreating into the depths of the ocean, but the damage was already done. The water around Olivia was a deep, menacing red, her leg a mangled mess. Desperately, her friends began pulling her toward the shore. On the shore, Ethan had been keeping a watchful eye on Olivia and her friends, the music from the party blaring loudly behind him. But when the playful splashing stopped and was replaced by frantic, erratic movements, he knew something was terribly wrong. He strained to see through the dimming light, and then he saw it. Olivia's body jerking violently in the water, surrounded by panicked friends. His heart dropped. Without thinking, Ethan sprinted toward the shoreline. The party fell silent. As guests noticed his desperate run, the music abruptly cut off. As everyone turned to see what had caused such a panic, Ethan reached the edge of the water just as Olivia's friends were frantically pulling her back to shore. Blood streamed from the horrific wounds, staining the once clear water. The resort's medics, alerted by the rising panic, rushed to the scene. Despite their best efforts to stop the bleeding, Olivia succumbed to her injuries on the beach. The fatal wounds included a severe laceration to her femoral artery, leading to catastrophic blood loss. In the aftermath, local authorities and marine experts conducted an investigation, estimating the to be a bull shark nearly 10 feet long. Known for its aggressive nature and ability to thrive in shallow waters, the beach was immediately closed, and warnings were issued to residents and tourists alike. The tragedy not only shocked the community but also left Ethan with an unbearable weight of guilt, as he realized he would have to carry the burden of her loss for the rest of his life. In the summer of 2014, on July 12th, four friends in their early 20s, Lucas, David, Sophia, and Emma, were on vacation in Florida. They spent their days exploring the coast, searching for hidden spots away from the usual tourist crowds. On this particular day, they discovered a beautiful, secluded cove that seemed like a hidden gem, its clear waters and untouched beach calling out to them. The cove's eerie quietness, however, was soon explained when they noticed several shark warning signs posted along the shore. The signs gave them pause, but the cove was too beautiful, and the group was too eager to enjoy the serenity of the spot. They dismissed the danger, reasoning that the warnings were probably just a precaution. The allure of the pristine beach and the desire for a perfect day of swimming were too strong to resist. By mid-morning, the group had swum out about 150 feet from the shore, where they spent hours enjoying the cool waters in each other's company. As the day wore on, they decided it was time to head back to shore for lunch, planning to wrap up their perfect morning. Just as they began to swim back after one last dive, their sense of safety was abruptly shattered. Without warning, Lucas felt a sharp, searing pain in his right calf. 12-foot tiger shark had struck its powerful jaws, clamping down with immense force. The razor-sharp teeth tore his flesh, crushing muscle and bone as the shark shook its head, violently attempting to rip away a chunk of his leg. David, who was closest to Lucas, immediately kicked at the shark in a desperate attempt to drive it away. His foot connected with the shark's side, but the massive predator barely reacted. His attempts, though earnest, were weak and ineffective against the relentless predator. Sophia and Emma, realizing the gravity of the situation, spotted a boat farther out on the water. Desperate for help, they began swimming away from Lucas and David, frantically waving and shouting to get the attention of the people on board. The man on the boat, Richard Hayes, an experienced boater on a trip with his wife, noticed the girls' distress and immediately steered the boat toward them. Understanding the severity of the situation, he maneuvered the boat closer to Lucas and David, who were still battling the shark. Lucas was losing blood rapidly, his screams filling the air as he realized he had lost all feeling in his leg. The shark, relentless in its attack, continued to circle them, drawn by the scent of blood and preparing for another strike. As the boat neared, Richard grabbed a boat hook and swung it at the shark, managing to hit it. Just as it was about to strike again, the shark hesitated for a moment, giving David the chance to pull Lucas, now limp and barely conscious, onto the boat. As they hauled Lucas out of the water, they discovered the horrifying extent of his injuries. His leg had been severed in the struggle. Richard immediately sped the boat back to shore, calling emergency services. As they raced against time, his wife, on board with him, quickly grabbed towels to apply pressure to Lucas's wounds, trying to stem the bleeding from the horrific bites that had torn through his leg. Upon reaching the shore just under 15 minutes after the attack, emergency services were waiting. The paramedics quickly assessed Lucas's condition, noting the severe blood loss and the traumatic amputation of his leg. They rushed him to Halifax Health Medical Center in Daytona Beach, where he was taken into emergency surgery. Lucas's injuries were severe, and the doctors worked tirelessly to save his life. The surgery was successful in stabilizing him, but the damage was irreversible. Lucas's leg could not be saved. It was later revealed that the shark warning signs had been posted due to increased seal activity in the area, which had attracted more sharks. Ignoring the warnings had dire consequences for Lucas and his friends, a harsh lesson that would stay with them forever. We appreciate you joining us for this installment. May these narratives serve as a vital reminder to exercise vigilance when venturing into the ocean. Its allure is undeniable, yet its perils are real. Your continued engagement is invaluable, and we eagerly await your presence for our subsequent broadcast, where we'll explore even more remarkable accounts. If you found this video compelling, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And subscribe so you don't miss any future uploads. Stay well, and until our next encounter, what story shocked you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping tailies.